hate jumping off those stupid things. Alright guys, well, welcome back to the channel. As you know, we have a dozer. A D5, and today we're going to tell you why you want one, or why you need one, or maybe even why you don't. I don't know. But let's get into it. We're going to give you a tour of this thing. We're going to show you how to operate it a little bit. We're going to give you the pros and the cons. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and let's get started. Standing behind me here is this D5 dozer, and we're going to start off with a little bit of specs on this machinery. Basically, it comes in at 20,434 pounds. It has a fuel capacity of 48.6 gallons, so it can hold a lot of diesel fuel for a lot of work. Not only that, it comes in at a gross horsepower of 99 and a net horsepower of 90. Let's go around. We'll show some other little specs about it, so that way we can point them out as you see them, and we'll go from there. With the tracks itself, they have 7 rollers and they have 39 shoes per side. This machine here, one pro of it being, is it's very easy to work on. A lot of times you can undo the bolts, which are these little clips here from the shoes, and those come off as you roll. So maintenance on these things is not too bad to do. If you have a little bit of mechanic knowledge, honestly could go a long way. This bad boy, the length of it is 7.58 feet. The shoes here, as you can see, aren't the biggest for us. They are worn down about 60%, so most of them you see are probably about this high. This machine here, being as small and compact as it is, it's a lot easier to use on ground, like you see here. It's a lot easier to shape, it's a lot easier to maneuver. One con of this machine here compared to like a D6, which is one of the most reputable machines in this industry, it has the high track roller here allows for it to clean dirt, which is great if you're going to be doing a lot of yards, like moving thousands and thousands of yards of dirt. You're putting hours really on it every year. If you're using a D6 and you're using it every day, 5 days a week, you probably want that. But for this, you want something like this. If you're just using it around a small farm, you're helping a friend out, maybe building a driveway, this is perfect. Let's continue on. So ease of access is another big pro of this thing. Obviously all the engines up there, but other things, battery, all your hydraulic pumps, it's all right here. Easy to change filters, 3609. D5G, LGP, that stands for dozer. The 5 is the size. The G is the model, so this is a G model. LGP stands for low ground pressure. So coming to the back of the dozer here, as I said earlier, it holds 48.5 gallons of fuel. It doesn't cost that much to run. We run biodiesel, which is actually pretty bad for this machine because it gums up a lot of times. So if we can use clean diesel, we sure will. But 48.6 gallons of fuel probably puts you at about 3 gallons an hour. So that's a lot more work you can get done on this machine. So making it to the other side of the dozer, one of the first things that you're gonna notice is old cracked glass there. So this here is probably one of the most dangerous pieces of work that you can do on any type of heavy equipment. Pushing a dozer is very dangerous. We push a lot of brush, we push a lot of dirt, but sometimes pushing brush, there's things twined up in the bundles that you just don't notice. This one here got slapped by an elm tree root, and probably not the first time, probably not the last. So if you're on a dozer, it's best to have protection or at least some type of barrage. You'll see closed cab is great, but that'll happen to your glass. It's replaceable, but you aren't. Over here on the back side, to the top of the cab is about 9 feet tall. So transporting this thing, unlike a D8, D10, D11, it actually is very movable, you can say. So it's not that tall. So another pro for this machine is it's a hydrostat. So what does that mean? It has absolutely no transmission. This engine pushes is a hydraulic, which pushes all your gears, which is 2 motors in the back. So you never have to work on a transmission. So that's pretty good of a machine when you don't have to do all that maintenance. All you have to do is change some fluids, maybe a couple hoses every so often, and there she be. Take her to work. So coming to the front of the D5 dozer here, the blade is 10.7 feet wide. It is 40.6 inches tall, which means you could probably put about 3, 4, 5 yards in front of this thing, as long as it's pushing good. The bad part about this, there's no sides. A lot of times you'll see shins on these dozers. These right here are cutting edges. And what's cool about these are, these can be unbolted and flipped around, which means you get to use both sides of this. So that is definitely a pro. So obviously, walking around the machine, showing you some specs. We'll show you some footage of us using this thing, but there's not a lot of cons. There is just a couple. One being transportation. If you don't know somebody with a flatbed trailer, you could tow this with a 1-ton truck. That's a pro, but you better make sure your brakes are good because it is quite heavy. Other than that, it isn't as tall, it isn't as big. You can do a lot of pushing with it if you have time on a job. A lot of people want to work fast, and they want to get to job to job to job. If you have time, and this is on your personal property, this is a good machine for you. If not, I'd recommend having a friend with one because there's no need to have one of these. It is a big anchor, and honestly, you'd probably use it 2 or 3 times a year. And I've always learned if you can't justify at least, I don't know, 80 hours using this thing, you probably aren't going to be able to pay for this thing. Another con of this thing, I would say, is probably the price. If you don't know what these things cost, well, let's get you awakened on that. Starting out with higher mileages, I've seen some go for about $50,000. This one here, probably with as beat up in shape it is, you're probably looking at about 50 to 60, and a high end, they're probably about $110,000. Other than that, let's get inside. I'm gonna show you the cab, and then we're gonna go around and show you some of the controls, how things work, how the blade works, moving back and forth. So let's go in there. So one cool thing about this dozer, whenever you hop up here and you're worried about this door opening, obviously it's a little stiff, but if you throw it around, you'll notice back there, it catches on. And then you just hit this little latch back here, and it undoes the door. So that's pretty neat. We'll make our way inside the cab here. Don't mind the coffee spillage that we have. But here's all our gauge cluster. Just shows you different things. Oil pressure, your PSI. It shows, you know, your level of how fast your tracks are going. Shows your temperature, things like that, your fuel gauge. One thing that you will notice looking at the dash is these little foot pads here. When you're going downhill, you can put your feet up. So down here, this is called a decelerator. So unlike a gas pedal, it's kind of backwards. You lower it, goes higher. This here is a brake. I doubt that most people ever use this thing because it is ran by a hydrostat. You probably don't need a brake. You can put it in neutral. Most of the time it'll stop. Over here on the left side of me is the controls for the AC. So this thing does have AC and heat. Then over here is the lights. Then back here is how the operations work. A little dusty there, but you got your forward with your joystick here is forward, neutral, and then reverse. So that's how that works. This here is your horn. This here is kind of going up and down to go faster, your throttle. This is your throttle stick to put it in turtle or rabbit mode. Of course, we got a fire extinguisher in here. You got some cab lights inside, a couple speakers. We got radio there. Of course, your mirror so you can see behind you. Then on the right side over here, this is how we all control the blade.
This is blade up and down. This is tilt right. Tilt left. When you twist the handle, there's pitch right and pitch left. This is forward and reverse.
One thing that is really cool about this machine, it's super easy to operate. I mean, pretty much anybody can run one of these, but it takes a special kind of person to understand how to use it when it comes to leveling ground. You kind of feel the ground because this one doesn't have a GPS. It doesn't help you with your blade or nothing like that. This is all you and the feel of the dirt. So if you're into that and you like to gun ho and you want to be, oh, I'm Mr. I can fix this. Yeah, there you go. This machine is for you. So other than that, up here on your right, got your windshield wipers all the way around your fronts, your doors. There's even one on the back there, as you can see. So got a 12-volt plug-in, so you can charge your phone and things. Other than that, it's pretty simple. I'll start it up for you so you can hear it. Leave a comment below. Are you looking for a D5? If so, let me know your story. So let's get her started. So as I mentioned, it's quiet. I do have the throttle all the way down, and I have my foot on the accelerator. So basically, if you let up off your foot, basically idles up there. So this over here is these little buttons. You click them. This controls how fast you go. So this is up, this is down. So that's pretty easy on that. There you have it, folks. There's the pros. Some of the cons, there's not too many. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you buy a D5 dozer or any dozer by chance. We do have some more heavy machinery coming. We got a track hoe. We do have a D6. Some other little odds and ends things that you don't want to miss. So hit that subscribe button and let me know if I talked you into one. Sorry to your wives if you're watching this as well. Anyways, we'll see you on the next one.